There comes a moment in life when you quietly realize that the way you've been living no longer serves you. Maybe it's not a loud, dramatic breakdown, but a subtle ache in your spirit. You wake up in the morning and feel heavy before the day has even started. You look around and see routines, commitments, and habits that used to make sense but now only drain you. Deep down, you know something is wrong, not because you're weak, not because you've failed, but because you've outgrown the person you used to be. That realization is not the end of your story, it is the whisper of a new beginning. Starting over does not mean throwing everything away. It means carefully sifting through your life and deciding what is worth carrying forward and what you must finally leave behind. Many people stay stuck because they cling to things, people, and habits that no longer fit where they're going. They hold on out of fear of losing what little they have, forgetting that holding on to the wrong things often blocks the blessings meant for them. Resetting requires courage. The courage to let go of what is familiar, even if it feels safe in its misery. We have been taught to fear restarting as if beginning again means we have failed. But in truth, every great life is built on countless restarts. Nature itself is full of resets. The night resets into morning, the winter resets into spring, the rain resets into growth. You are no different. You are allowed to begin again as many times as it takes to find peace, joy, and purpose. Restarting is not weakness. It is the purest expression of strength. It is saying, I will not let my story end here. I will write a new chapter. So many people carry shame for wanting to reset. They look at their age, their mistakes, their missed chances, and think they are too far gone. But here is the truth. You are not late and you are not behind. Time is not your enemy. The real enemy is staying stuck in something that kills your spirit. Life is generous with second chances, but you must have the boldness to take them. Right now, in this very moment, you are being offered an invitation to stop living on autopilot, to stop repeating the same cycles, and to step into the possibility of becoming more. Think of your life like a canvas. Over time, layers of paint get piled on, some beautiful, some messy, some accidental. And eventually, the image no longer makes sense. Resetting is not about destroying the canvas. It's about taking a fresh brush and painting something new over what was. The past doesn't disappear. It becomes the background texture that makes your new story richer. Every mistake, every heartbreak, every setback becomes part of the foundation for the masterpiece you are about to create. But to begin again, you must first believe that you are worthy of a new beginning. Too many people convince themselves that change is for others, not for them. They convince themselves that the door has already closed, that the chance has already passed. But the truth is, as long as you are still breathing, your story is still unfolding. The pen is still in your hand. Every breath you take is proof that you are being given another chance to live differently, to love differently, to see differently. Resetting is not about perfection. It is about alignment. It's about stepping back, taking a deep breath, and asking yourself, does my life right now reflect the person I want to be? If the answer is no, then you already know it's time to reset. It doesn't matter how long you've been off track. What matters is that you've noticed. Awareness is the first gift of change. Awareness is the spark that lights the fire of transformation. Restarting is also not about speed. It's not about racing ahead and trying to fix everything overnight. True resets are slow, intentional, and patient. Think of a gardener clearing out a neglected field. First, they must pull the weeds, clear the stones, and prepare the soil. Only then can new seeds take root. You too must clear space in your life for new growth. You cannot rush the process. You must honor it. You must trust that the work you do today will bloom in its own season. Refocusing is the final piece of this puzzle. Once you've reset your heart and restarted your path, you must aim your energy in the right direction. Focus is the difference between scattering your strength and channeling it. Without focus, even the most powerful new beginning will fade into distraction. But when you refocus, when you lock in on the vision of who you want to become and refuse to be moved, you become unstoppable. Reset, restart, refocus. These 3 steps are not just ideas. They are the map to reclaiming your life. And so, this book is not just words. It is a guide. A hand reaching out to you. A reminder that no matter how lost you feel, you are never too far gone to return to yourself. Right now, as you listen, I invite you to pause. Breathe. Let yesterday go. Allow the noise of the past to fade into silence. The story that has been does not have to be the story that will be. This is your moment. Your call to begin again. Your permission to reset, restart, and refocus. And this time you will not just survive, you will rise. Chapter 1. Recognizing when you need a reset. There are times in life when everything looks fine on the outside, yet inside you feel something isn't right. You go through your daily motions, working, studying, smiling for the world, but when you pause there's a quiet emptiness you can't ignore. It's not always dramatic or loud. Sometimes it's subtle. Waking up tired even after sleeping, feeling detached from things you once loved, or losing excitement for goals that used to ignite you. This is your first sign. Life is whispering that you need a reset. The truth is, exhaustion isn't always physical. Often it's emotional and mental. You may be carrying the weight of unspoken worries, unhealed wounds, and unfulfilled promises to yourself. Maybe you're caught in a cycle of doing what you must, not what you love. Maybe your days are filled with noise but lacking meaning. When your inner world feels cluttered, even simple tasks become overwhelming. You tell yourself you're fine, but deep down you know, this is not the life you envisioned. That awareness is not weakness, it's clarity. One of the clearest indicators that you need a reset is when joy feels far away. Think about it, the activities that once filled you with passion now feel like chores. Music doesn't move you the way it used to. Conversations drain instead of energize you. You scroll endlessly on your phone not because you're engaged but because you're escaping. This numbness is not who you are, it's a signal that your soul is hungry for change. Another sign is resistance to the present moment. You find yourself always longing for the past or anxiously anticipating the future. Instead of living today, you're running from yesterday's regrets or tomorrow's fears. You're not fully here. When your mind refuses to settle in the now, it's crying out for a reset. You weren't created to live distracted. You were created to live awake, alive, and intentional. Sometimes the body speaks before the mind does. Fatigue that no amount of sleep can fix. Headaches that seem to come from nowhere. A heaviness in your chest that you can't explain. These aren't random. Your body is often the first to reveal when your inner life is out of balance. Ignoring these signals doesn't make them go away, it only deepens the disconnection between who you are and how you're living. A reset begins with listening to the messages your own body sends you. Another powerful sign is when you start questioning your purpose. You may wonder, why am I doing this? What am I chasing? Does any of this really matter? These questions, though uncomfortable, are not a crisis. They are an invitation. They are your spirit's way of asking for realignment. You don't need to panic when they come. Instead, see them as the early sparks of a new beginning, a gentle reminder that life is offering you a chance to reset your path. And then there's the weight of repetition. Days that feel identical. Routines that numb you instead of growing you. You wake, you work, you sleep, and in between you feel like you're merely existing. This is one of the clearest signs of all. Life has become a cycle of survival, not living. A reset is about breaking this loop. It's about injecting freshness, spontaneity, and meaning back into the patterns of your days. Pay attention also to the relationships in your life. Do they uplift you or drain you? Do you feel seen, valued, and inspired by the people closest to you? Or do you feel small, invisible, and constantly misunderstood? When your connections no longer align with your growth, it's a sign to reset. This doesn't always mean walking away. Sometimes it means redefining boundaries, sometimes it means healing old wounds. But ignoring unhealthy relational patterns keeps you locked in cycles that dim your light. Perhaps the strongest sign of all is restlessness. That deep, gnawing feeling that there is more out there for you, even if you can't quite put it into words. You may feel guilty for wanting more peace, more love, more purpose. But this restlessness is not greed. It is destiny calling you. It's the fire within you refusing to let you settle for less than you're capable of. When you feel it, don't silence it. Recognize it for what it is. Your soul demanding a reset. Recognizing when you need a reset is not about labeling your life as broken. It's about being honest enough to admit that you've outgrown your current state. It's about listening to the whispers of your mind, body, and spirit before they turn into screams. The reset is not punishment, it's permission. permission to slow down, to reevaluate, and to rise again. This awareness is the foundation of transformation. Because before you can restart and refocus, you must first see clearly that it's time. Chapter 2: The Courage to Restart. Restarting is one of the bravest decisions you will ever make, because it means standing face to face with uncertainty. Most people would rather stay in the comfort of the known, even when it's painful, even when it's slowly draining them, than step into the unknown. Why? Because the unknown is uncomfortable. It demands vulnerability, patience, and faith. But the truth is, growth never comes from comfort. To restart is to declare that your future matters more than your fear. It is a bold act of self-love, one that says, I refuse to keep repeating the same story. I am ready to write a new one. When you restart, you give yourself permission to let go of what no longer serves you. That might be a career that suffocates your creativity, a relationship that steals your peace, or habits that keep you stuck in cycles of regret. Letting go doesn't mean those things were meaningless. It means they've fulfilled their purpose. They've taught you what you needed to know. The courage comes in acknowledging that it's time to step forward, without dragging the weight of the old life into the new. But courage doesn't always feel like strength. Sometimes courage feels like trembling hands, racing thoughts, and a voice inside that whispers, "What if I fail again?" That voice is natural. It is fear trying to protect you from pain. Yet, the deeper truth is this: failure is not the end, but the beginning of understanding. Restarting doesn't guarantee a smooth road, but it does guarantee movement. And movement, no matter how small, always creates new opportunities. Stagnation may feel safe, but it slowly erodes your spirit. Courage is choosing growth over stagnation. Think of nature. Trees shed their leaves every autumn, not because they are dying, but because they are preparing for renewal. The bare branches may look fragile, but hidden within them is the promise of spring. You too must be willing to shed, to let parts of your life fall away so that something stronger, fresher, and more aligned can bloom. Restarting is not weakness. It is alignment with the natural rhythm of life, where endings always lead to beginnings. One of the greatest acts of courage in restarting is facing judgment. People will not always understand your decision to start over. They may question you, laugh at you, or remind you of your past mistakes. But remember this: they are not living your life. They are not waking up in your skin. They are not carrying your dreams or your burdens. Their opinions may echo loudly, but they cannot walk your path for you. True courage is tuning out the noise and listening to the quiet certainty within your own heart. Restarting also requires humility. It means admitting that what you've been doing hasn't worked. It means being willing to start at the bottom, to learn again, to rebuild piece by piece. This humility is not defeat, it is wisdom. The strongest foundations are built not on pride, but on patience. Every expert was once a beginner. Every master once stumbled. Restarting doesn't erase your worth, it reveals your resilience. Courage to restart also comes from focusing on possibility rather than loss. Too often we fixate on what we're leaving behind. The years invested, the resources spent, the comfort we once knew. But if you shift your perspective, you'll see that restarting is not about losing. It's about gaining. You are gaining clarity, freedom, and a chance to live more authentically. Instead of asking, "What am I giving up?" start asking, "What am I opening myself to?" This shift in focus transforms fear into excitement. It's important to remember that courage is not a one-time act. It is a practice. Every morning you choose to rise and walk into the unknown, you exercise courage. Every time you silence your doubts and take one more step, you strengthen your resolve. Restarting is not about one dramatic leap. It's about consistent, small acts of bravery that build momentum until one day, you look back and realize you've created a brand new life. And yet, courage doesn't mean you have to walk alone. Surround yourself with people who support your restart, who remind you of your worth when you forget, who see your potential when your vision gets blurry. The right voices can breathe courage into your soul when your own voice grows faint. Seek out mentors, friends, or communities that encourage growth. Even one person who believes in you can make the restart less daunting. Finally, understand this: the courage to restart is not about becoming someone new. It's about becoming who you were always meant to be. Life has a way of burying us under expectations, failures, and disappointments until we lose sight of ourselves. Restarting is the brave act of digging through that rubble and saying, "Here I am. I may be bruised, but I am not broken. I may have stumbled, but I am still worthy of rising." And when you rise, trembling but determined, you prove to yourself that courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward in spite of it. Chapter 3: Breaking Free from Mental Clutter. Life does not just get cluttered with things, it gets cluttered with thoughts. We wake up with worries from yesterday, burdens from last year, and fears about tomorrow. We replay conversations in our minds, imagining what we should have said. We scroll endlessly through feeds of other people's lives until we forget to live our own. Mental clutter is invisible, but it weighs heavier than any physical baggage. It robs us of clarity, drains our energy, and blurs our sense of purpose. To reset, to restart, and to refocus, we must first learn how to untangle this web inside our minds. Mental clutter is often disguised as productivity. You convince yourself you're thinking ahead, when in truth you're simply looping through the same anxieties over and over. You tell yourself you're staying connected online, but in reality you're drowning in comparison. You justify overthinking as preparation when it is actually paralysis. The first step to breaking free is recognizing that not every thought deserves your attention. Your mind is a garden, and weeds grow automatically. If you don't pull them out, they will choke your growth. One of the greatest lies we tell ourselves is that we can solve everything by thinking harder. But clarity does not come from overthinking. It comes from pausing. Imagine a muddy glass of water. If you keep shaking it, it stays cloudy. But if you set it down, the dirt settles and the water becomes clear again. Your mind is the same way. Sometimes clarity is not found in more effort but in stillness. Learning to pause, breathe, and create mental space is not laziness. It is wisdom. Another source of mental clutter is the weight of unfinished tasks. The promises you've made to yourself but never kept. The to-do lists you've started but never completed. Each of these becomes a little whisper in the back of your mind saying, "You haven't done this yet." Over time, those whispers pile up into a loud chorus of guilt and self-doubt. One of the simplest ways to free yourself is to either do the task or release it. Not everything deserves to be carried forward. Sometimes, freedom means letting go of what was never truly necessary. The digital world adds another layer of noise. Notifications, endless news cycles, social media feeds, all of them fight for your attention. Your brain is not built to process this much input, and yet you expose it to constant noise. No wonder you feel restless. No wonder you can't focus. Breaking free from mental clutter often requires setting boundaries with your devices. Ask yourself, how much of what I consume actually feeds my growth and how much is just mental junk food? A reset sometimes means choosing silence over noise and depth over distraction. But clutter is not only digital, it's emotional. Old arguments, unhealed wounds, grudges you've carried for years, all of them live rent-free in your mind, draining your peace. Forgiveness is not about excusing someone else's behavior. It's about freeing your mind from replaying the same pain on repeat. When you forgive, you're not saying what they did was right. You're saying, "I refuse to let this hold space in my mind any longer." Emotional decluttering is one of the hardest forms of release, but also the most liberating. Another trap of mental clutter is perfectionism. The belief that you must always get it right, that you must always know the answer, that failure is not an option. Perfectionism clutters your mind with fear. Fear of starting, fear of failing, fear of looking foolish. The truth is, nobody lives a perfect life. Mistakes are not clutter, they are teachers. When you stop fearing imperfection, you free your mind to try, to learn, and to grow. Remember this, clutter thrives in fear, but clarity grows in courage. Practical tools can help with decluttering. Journaling, for instance, allows you to empty the noise in your head onto paper, where it can no longer spin endlessly in circles. Meditation teaches you to observe your thoughts without being controlled by them. Even simple practices like taking a walk in silence, away from screens, can reset your mental state. These are not luxuries. They are necessities. Just as your body needs rest to recover, your mind needs space to breathe. Breaking free from mental clutter is not a one-time act. It is a daily practice. Just as dust collects in a room even after you've cleaned it, unnecessary thoughts will always try to creep back into your mind. But if you learn the discipline of noticing, pausing, and releasing, your inner world will remain lighter. You will find yourself focusing more on what matters and worrying less about what doesn't. The noise will fade and clarity will rise. In the end, mental clarity is not about having no thoughts at all. It's about having the right thoughts. Thoughts that inspire, not drain. Thoughts that move you forward, not keep you stuck. When you declutter your mind, you create space for creativity, peace, and vision. You open the door for fresh beginnings. And most importantly, you give yourself the gift of focus. Focus to reset your life, restart your journey, and refocus on becoming the person you were always meant to be. Chapter 4: Rewriting Your Personal Narrative. Life is a story, and every single one of us is the author of our own. Yet, too often we forget this truth. Instead of writing with intention, we allow circumstances, failures, and even the opinions of others to hold the pen. We replay our past mistakes so often that they become our identity, and we carry shame as if it is a permanent tattoo on our soul. But the truth is this: your past is not your definition. It is a chapter, not the whole book. The act of resetting and restarting begins with this realization, that you can rewrite your personal narrative. We've all been guilty of clinging to stories that no longer serve us. Maybe you tell yourself, "I've always been the type who fails," or "I can never keep relationships healthy," or "I'm just not good enough." These repeated scripts become mental cages, locking you into patterns you don't even want. The irony is that most of these stories are outdated. They were formed in moments of pain, rejection, or disappointment, and they may not even reflect who you are anymore. But because you've repeated them for so long, you've come to believe them as truth. Rewriting your personal narrative doesn't mean pretending your past didn't happen. It doesn't mean sugarcoating your mistakes or ignoring your scars. It means reframing them. Instead of saying, "I failed," you can begin to say, "I learned." Instead of saying, "I was abandoned," you can begin to say, "I survived and I am stronger because of it." This simple shift in language transforms you from a victim of your story into the hero of it. The past remains, but its meaning changes. One of the most powerful tools for rewriting your narrative is reflection. Sit with yourself. Look back not with judgment, but with curiosity. Ask, what did those failures teach me? What strength did that heartbreak awaken in me? What hidden skills did that season of struggle force me to develop? Suddenly, the pieces of your past no longer appear as a random mess of brokenness, but as fragments of a mosaic, one that has shaped the unique and powerful person you are becoming. You must also learn to challenge the labels others have given you. Maybe someone once told you that you were lazy or weak or destined to fail. Perhaps a teacher dismissed you, a parent criticized you, or a partner tore you down. Those words might have settled into your subconscious like poison. But here's the truth: their version of you is not the real you. It is a reflection of their limitations, not yours. Rewriting your narrative requires tearing off those false labels and writing new ones: resilient, disciplined, worthy, unstoppable. This process also requires forgiveness, not only for others but for yourself. Many people remain trapped in their old narratives because they cannot forgive themselves for who they used to be. They replay their mistakes endlessly, as if punishing themselves could somehow undo the past. But forgiveness is freedom. It is choosing to acknowledge your humanity, release the burden of regret, and give yourself permission to grow. When you forgive yourself, you reclaim your pen and start writing again. Another key part of rewriting your story is to focus on your future identity. Who do you want to be? What kind of person do you want to show up as every day? Instead of looking at yourself through the lens of your past, you start aligning your actions with your future self. For example, if you want to be disciplined, begin telling yourself, "I am disciplined." If you want to be confident, begin saying, "I walk with confidence." Words shape identity, and identity shapes behavior. Your narrative becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, so choose carefully the story you tell yourself. It's important to understand that rewriting your narrative is not a one-time act. It is a daily practice. Each morning you have the chance to decide who you are becoming. Each setback tests whether you'll fall back into your old story or stand firm in your new one. It's like writing a book that never ends. Every day is another page and you decide what gets written. And when you slip, because you will, the beauty of this process is that you can always revise. You are never stuck. Think of some of the most inspiring people in history. Many of them had broken beginnings, poverty, failure, addiction, rejection. Yet they rewrote their narratives. They refused to let their opening chapters define the ending of their book. They reframed their scars as proof of survival, and their setbacks as stepping stones. That same power lives in you. The only difference between them and you is the courage to believe that your story is still being written. So here is the challenge. Put down the pen of the old story. Stop reading the same sad chapter over and over again. Begin to write a new narrative, one filled with strength, hope, and vision. Speak it aloud. Affirm it daily. Live as if it is already true. Because once you change the story you tell yourself, you change the life you live. And when you do, you'll discover that rewriting your personal narrative is not just about healing your past. It's about creating a future worthy of who you really are. Chapter 5. The Power of Small Wins. When people dream of change, they often imagine it in grand, sweeping gestures. Quitting a job overnight, moving to a new city, losing all the weight in a few months, or completely reinventing their life in a matter of days. And while those visions can be inspiring, they are also overwhelming. The truth is, transformation rarely comes in giant leaps. More often, it is born from consistent, deliberate, small steps. A small win might not look impressive to the outside world, but it plants the seeds of momentum. And momentum, once built, has the power to change everything. Think of a snowball at the top of a hill. At first, it's tiny, fragile, and almost insignificant. But as it rolls, it gathers more snow, growing in size, speed, and strength. That is the nature of small wins. Waking up 5 minutes earlier. Drinking one more glass of water. Reading a single page of a book. Calling that one person you've been putting off. Alone, each act looks small. Together, over time, they compound into unstoppable momentum that shifts the entire course of your life. One of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to reset their lives is setting goals that are too massive to sustain. They want to go from 0 to 100 overnight, and when they inevitably stumble, they label themselves as failures. But failure doesn't come from moving slowly. Failure comes from stopping. Small wins give you the grace to keep moving forward even when life is heavy. They are proof to yourself that you are capable of change, and they build a foundation strong enough to carry the weight of larger victories. The psychology behind small wins is powerful. Every time you complete a small task, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical of reward and motivation. This creates a positive feedback loop. You feel good, so you keep going. That's why checking something off your to-do list feels satisfying, no matter how small the task was. This cycle rewires your brain to seek progress instead of perfection, consistency instead of intensity. And once your mind learns to crave progress, the journey becomes less about pressure and more about possibility. Consider the story of someone who wants to run a marathon but hasn't exercised in years. If they focus only on running 26 miles, the goal feels impossible. But if they commit to walking around the block today, jogging for 5 minutes tomorrow, and slowly building distance week after week, the impossible becomes inevitable. Every small win bridges the gap between where they are and where they dream of being. That same principle applies to your life. No matter how far away your vision seems, the path begins with one simple step. Small wins are also critical for rebuilding trust with yourself. Many people struggle with self-doubt not because they lack ability, but because they've broken too many promises to themselves. They said they'd wake up early but didn't. They said they'd save money but spent it. They said they'd take care of their body but ignored it. Over time, this erodes self-belief. But when you commit to small, realistic goals and consistently achieve them, you begin to heal that relationship with yourself. You prove day by day that your word is worth something again. The beauty of small wins is that they meet you where you are. If you're tired, your small win might simply be journaling one sentence about your day. If you're overwhelmed, your small win might be sitting in silence for 2 minutes to breathe. If you're ambitious, your small win might be tackling a challenging task you've been avoiding. The size doesn't matter. What matters is that you act. Because action, no matter how small, is always greater than inaction. It's important to celebrate small wins. Too often, people dismiss their progress because it doesn't look like the final destination. They say, "It's just a little thing. It doesn't count." But that mindset kills motivation. Acknowledge every step you take, no matter how tiny. Celebrate drinking water instead of soda. Celebrate choosing to read instead of scroll. Celebrate making it through a hard day without giving up. Gratitude for your small wins builds appreciation for the journey, and that appreciation fuels perseverance. In truth, small wins create ripples that extend far beyond the moment. When you start changing little things, bigger things begin to shift naturally. A person who starts walking every day soon eats better to support their energy. A person who reads one page of a book daily ends up finishing multiple books in a year. A person who saves a few coins in a jar eventually builds wealth. Small wins compound, and their impact multiplies far more than you can see in the beginning. So, if your life feels heavy right now, if restarting feels overwhelming, remember this truth. You don't need to climb the whole mountain today. You only need to take one step. A reset doesn't happen in a single moment. It happens in layers, in habits, in the accumulation of choices that seem almost invisible until one day, you look back and realize how far you've come. Never underestimate the power of small wins. They are the quiet builders of extraordinary change. Chapter 6: Protecting your energy. Your energy is your most valuable currency. Every day you are spending it on conversations, on decisions, on responsibilities, and even on thoughts that never leave your head. Unlike money, once your energy is drained, you cannot simply borrow more. You cannot swipe a card and instantly recharge. You only have so much to give before exhaustion takes over. That is why protecting your energy is not a luxury, it is survival. It is the difference between living fully present and merely existing in exhaustion. The truth is, most people don't realize how much of their fatigue comes from things that never deserved their energy in the first place. Gossip, drama, endless scrolling, arguments that go nowhere, or trying to prove yourself to people who will never understand you. All of these quietly drain your spirit. You may go to sleep at night feeling tired, not because you worked hard on your dreams, but because you wasted your strength fighting battles that were never yours to fight. Protecting your energy begins with recognizing the silent thieves that rob you daily. Boundaries are the walls that keep your energy safe. Without them, anyone can walk in and take from you, leaving you empty. Boundaries are not about shutting people out of your life. They are about choosing who gets the privilege of access to your time, your attention, and your heart. When you learn to say no without guilt, when you learn that "I can't right now" is not a weakness but wisdom, you begin to see how powerful boundaries can be. Remember, every time you say yes to something that drains you, you are saying no to something that could have restored you. But protecting your energy isn't only about guarding against the outside world. It's also about mastering the battles within. Negative self-talk, constant worry, and dwelling on the past can deplete you just as quickly as toxic people. The voice inside your head must be trained to build you up, not tear you down. You cannot afford to be your own enemy. Imagine how much energy you would reclaim if you stopped replaying your mistakes, if you stopped comparing your journey to others, and if you started speaking to yourself with kindness and encouragement. Rest is another form of protection. We live in a world that glorifies hustle, constant movement, and sleepless grinding. But even machines break down without pause. You are not weak for needing rest, you are wise for embracing it. Sleep, solitude, and silence are sacred spaces where your energy is restored. Protecting your energy means knowing when to step back, when to disconnect, and when to allow your soul to breathe again. Do not wait until you burn out completely before you give yourself permission to rest. Your environment also plays a powerful role in your energy. Look around you, the spaces you live in, the people you surround yourself with, and the media you consume. Are they filling you or draining you? A cluttered room can clutter the mind. Constant negativity on your phone can poison your spirit. People who always bring problems but never solutions can weigh you down. Protecting your energy requires curating your environment so that what surrounds you aligns with the peace you're trying to build. There is also great power in selective silence. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every argument is worth winning. Not every opinion needs to be defended. Sometimes the greatest way to protect your energy is to simply say nothing and walk away. Silence is not weakness, it is control. It says, My energy is too valuable to waste on this. Choose your battles wisely because not everything deserves your fire. Protecting your energy also means learning the difference between helping and being drained. You can love people without carrying their burdens. You can care deeply without destroying yourself in the process. Empathy is beautiful, but if you constantly pour into others without refilling yourself, you will run dry. The best version of you cannot exist if you are constantly exhausted from trying to save everyone else. Protecting your energy allows you to serve others from a place of strength, not depletion. Another way to guard your energy is to align your actions with your values. Much of our fatigue comes from living lives that don't match who we really are. Every time you say yes to something that goes against your values, a little piece of you feels drained. But when you act in alignment with your true self, energy flows naturally. Integrity is not just about morality, it is about energy management. Living a double life, pretending to be someone you're not, or chasing approval will always exhaust you. Being authentic will always recharge you. Finally, remember this: protecting your energy is not selfish. It is the foundation of living well. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot shine if you've given all your light away. Protecting your energy means honoring yourself enough to know your worth, setting the limits that preserve your peace, and walking away from what no longer serves your growth. When your energy is safe, your mind becomes clear, your focus sharpens, and your life begins to align. The most powerful version of you is not the one who gives endlessly until nothing is left. It is the one who protects their energy so they can keep giving with strength, purpose, and love. Chapter 7: Creating a Vision That Pulls You Forward. A reset without a vision is like a journey without a destination. You may move, you may work, you may push yourself day after day, but without a clear vision you risk walking in circles. Vision is not just a picture of what you want your life to look like. It is the compass that directs your energy, the anchor that holds you steady when storms hit, and the fire that keeps burning even when everything around you goes dark. If you want to truly restart and refocus, you must craft a vision so powerful that it doesn't just push you forward, it pulls you forward. The difference between pushing and being pulled is enormous. When you push yourself, every step feels heavy, like dragging your feet through mud. You rely on sheer willpower, which eventually runs out. But when you are pulled by a vision, you don't have to force yourself to keep going. Your heart yearns for it, your mind fixates on it, and your energy naturally flows toward it. It becomes the kind of future you can see so clearly in your mind that you can almost touch it. That's what makes the hard work worth it. Creating this kind of vision starts with honesty. Ask yourself, what do I really want? Not what others expect from me, not what society tells me I should want, but what my soul longs for. Most people never ask this question deeply enough. They chase careers because they are safe. They pursue lifestyles because they look good on social media, and they measure success by comparison instead of alignment. But when your vision is borrowed, you will always feel unfulfilled. A true vision is deeply personal. It resonates with who you are and who you are becoming. Once you've found the seed of that vision, you must water it with imagination. Don't be afraid to dream in vivid color. See yourself living it, not vaguely but in detail. What does your morning look like? Who surrounds you? How do you carry yourself? What impact are you making in the world? The brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. When you visualize your vision consistently, your mind begins to believe it's possible. And when your mind believes, your actions naturally align. But vision is more than fantasy. It is anchored in purpose. Purpose is the why behind your vision. You may want financial freedom, but why? You may want to be healthier, but why? The deeper the why, the stronger the pull. When your vision is rooted in purpose, even the hardest sacrifices will feel lighter. You'll stop asking, do I have to do this? And start saying, this is part of my becoming. Purpose turns discipline into devotion. Now, a vision is not meant to be kept in your head alone. Write it down. Speak it out loud. Surround yourself with reminders of it. Create a vision board if you must, not because pictures have magical power, but because repetition trains the subconscious mind. Every time you see your vision, your brain begins to recognize it as a reality waiting to unfold. The more you reinforce it, the harder it becomes to quit. You are literally programming yourself to move in alignment with your future. Of course, a great vision will scare you. If your vision feels comfortable, it's probably too small. Growth does not happen in the realm of the easy and familiar. Your vision should stretch you, challenge you, and even intimidate you. But instead of running from that fear, use it. Fear is proof that your vision is bigger than your current self, and that's exactly how it should be. Let the gap between who you are now and who you want to be fuel your journey. That tension is the birthplace of transformation. But here is the truth: vision alone is not enough. Many people dream endlessly but never build. Your vision must be paired with action. Break it down into milestones. Create a map even if it's rough. Ask yourself, what's the smallest step I can take today that moves me closer? Momentum builds through consistent, deliberate action. Don't wait for the perfect conditions, they will never come. Start where you are, with what you have, and let the vision pull you through the uncertainty. Protect your vision fiercely. Not everyone will understand it. Some will mock it, others will doubt it, and many will project their fears onto you. That's okay, your vision was given to you, not them. Don't expect people who can't see it to validate it. Instead, surround yourself with those who lift you higher, who remind you of your greatness when you forget, who fan the flames of your dream instead of pouring water on it. Your environment will either nurture your vision or suffocate it. Choose wisely. And finally, remember this: your vision is not a destination but an evolving journey. As you grow, your vision will expand. What feels impossible today may become your normal tomorrow, and when it does, a bigger vision will emerge. That's the beauty of life. There is always more to reach for, more to create, more to become. Live with a vision that excites you, that terrifies you, that demands the best version of yourself. Let it pull you forward through every season, every setback, every storm. Because when your vision is clear, nothing can stop you. Chapter 8: Discipline over motivation. Motivation is like a spark, bright, exciting, and full of energy but fleeting. It shows up unexpectedly, sometimes at the perfect moment, and sometimes disappears just when you need it most. If you rely solely on motivation to push you forward, you will find yourself stuck, waiting for a feeling to come back. Discipline, on the other hand, is the engine that keeps you moving even when motivation fades. It is a steady force, reliable and unwavering, and it is what separates those who succeed from those who only dream. Discipline is not about being harsh with yourself or living a life of restriction. It is about creating consistent habits that align with your goals and values. When you choose discipline over motivation, you no longer depend on temporary feelings to act. Instead, you commit to a structure, a plan, and a standard for your life. You wake up each day and do what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. That is the true mark of a person in control of their destiny. Many people misunderstand discipline. They think it means denying yourself joy, pleasure, or freedom. But real discipline is liberating. It gives you control over your time, energy, and focus. It allows you to channel your efforts into productive actions rather than reactive impulses. When you cultivate discipline, you create space to pursue your vision without being swayed by distractions, doubts, or fleeting moods. It is the quiet strength that fuels long-term success. One of the most powerful ways to develop discipline is through small, deliberate actions repeated consistently. Start with something manageable: waking up at the same time each day, dedicating 20 minutes to learning, or completing one important task before checking your phone. These small victories compound over time. Each disciplined choice strengthens your mental muscles, and before long, you will find yourself capable of far more than you once imagined. Discipline also requires honesty with yourself. You must confront the excuses, rationalizations, and patterns that have held you back. Motivation often masks the truth. "I'll do it when I feel ready," is an illusion. Feeling ready is not required. Action is required. Every time you push through resistance and take the step you know you need to take, you reinforce your inner authority. You prove to yourself that your actions are stronger than your feelings. Another essential aspect of discipline is planning. Motivation thrives in chaos because it is unpredictable. Discipline thrives in structure because it is deliberate. Set clear goals, break them into actionable steps, and design routines that support your progress. When your day is organized around priorities rather than impulses, discipline becomes second nature. It no longer feels like a struggle, it becomes a way of life. There will be moments when motivation returns, often unexpectedly, and that's fine. But do not rely on it. Discipline is what will carry you through the mornings when you feel tired, the evenings when you feel drained, and the obstacles that seem insurmountable. Motivation may give you a boost, but discipline ensures you never stop moving forward. One builds momentum while the other sustains it. Discipline is not just about achieving external goals, it is about building inner strength. When you cultivate self-discipline, you develop patience, resilience, and confidence. You learn that you can rely on yourself, that your word is your bond, and that your actions define who you are more than your feelings ever will. This inner power is invaluable because life will always test you with challenges, setbacks, and uncertainty. It is also important to remember that discipline is a choice, not a punishment. You do not discipline yourself to suffer. You discipline yourself to thrive. You discipline yourself to protect your dreams, to honor your commitments, and to rise above the distractions and temptations that lead nowhere. The more you embrace discipline as a tool for growth, the more effortless it becomes to stay consistent and focused. Finally, discipline over motivation is the mindset that transforms ordinary lives into extraordinary ones. It is the reason why some people achieve greatness while others watch from the sidelines. Motivation will spark your journey, but discipline will carry you to the finish line. By committing to action regardless of feeling, by building habits that support your vision, and by trusting yourself to follow through, you create a life of power, purpose, and unstoppable momentum. Discipline is your superpower waiting to be claimed. Chapter 9: Staying the course when life tests you. Life has a way of testing us at the very moment we decide to move forward. Just as you take your first steps into a new chapter, challenges arise, sometimes small, sometimes overwhelming. These tests are inevitable. They are not punishments, they are your growth accelerators. Every time life throws a curveball, it gives you the chance to strengthen your resolve, to learn patience, and to discover depths of resilience you didn't know existed. Understand this: the presence of obstacles does not mean you are failing. It means you are alive, striving, and daring to improve. When life tests you, the first step is awareness. Recognize that difficulty is part of the process, not a deviation from it. You will encounter moments of frustration, confusion, and doubt. You may feel that the world is conspiring against you, or that your efforts are futile. These feelings are normal, and acknowledging them is crucial. Denying the struggle only amplifies its impact. By naming your challenges, you take the first step toward taking control over them. Next comes acceptance. Not resignation, but the conscious acknowledgement that setbacks are part of your journey. Accepting the difficulty does not mean surrendering your dreams. It means refusing to let temporary setbacks define your path. Acceptance brings clarity. It allows you to analyze the situation calmly, make adjustments, and continue forward without unnecessary emotional baggage. The faster you accept life's tests, the quicker you regain your momentum. Persistence is your greatest ally when the road gets rough. Success is rarely linear. It is not a straight path from point A to point B. Instead, it is a winding journey filled with obstacles that challenge your patience and your willpower. Each test you endure without giving up strengthens your capacity to handle future challenges. The act of continuing, even when the outcome is uncertain, is where true growth happens. Persistence transforms obstacles into stepping stones, not stumbling blocks. Mindset is critical in navigating life's trials. Choose to see challenges as lessons, not setbacks. When you change the way you perceive difficulties, you change the way you respond to them. A challenge becomes an opportunity to practice resilience, patience, and creativity. By reframing adversity, you reclaim control over your emotions and your actions, refusing to be a victim of circumstance. Your mindset determines whether you crumble under pressure or rise stronger than before. Preparation also plays a vital role in staying the course. Anticipate potential obstacles and equip yourself with strategies to handle them. Build routines, maintain focus on your goals, and keep tools of support, whether they be mentors, supportive friends, or practical resources, close at hand. Life's tests are less daunting when you are ready. Planning does not eliminate difficulty, but it ensures you meet it with confidence rather than panic. Patience is another essential skill. Often, the most significant rewards come after the longest periods of struggle. Do not expect immediate results. Life's tests are meant to stretch you, to teach endurance, and to strengthen your commitment. Patience allows you to maintain composure, to take thoughtful actions instead of impulsive reactions, and to persevere even when progress seems invisible. Remember, slow and steady often wins the race. Resilience is built through small, consistent actions. Even when life seems relentless, showing up every day, doing your work, and maintaining your focus compounds over time. Each step, no matter how small, is a victory. Celebrate these moments of endurance. They may not feel monumental in the moment, but they are the foundation of long-term success. Resilience is not an innate trait. It is a habit, cultivated one decision at a time. Another key aspect is self-compassion. Life's tests can be discouraging, and you may falter or make mistakes along the way. Treat yourself with kindness, just as you would a close friend facing similar struggles. Self-compassion prevents burnout, nurtures your spirit, and allows you to continue with a clear mind and a strong heart. Understand that faltering does not mean failing. It simply means you are human, learning and growing. Finally, remember your vision. The reason you started this journey, the goal you are chasing, is what anchors you during storms. Keep your eyes on the bigger picture, and let it guide your actions when obstacles arise. Every test you face is temporary, but the progress you make in navigating them lasts forever. Stay the course, trust your journey, and never forget that the very act of persevering through life's tests transforms you into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable than you were before. Chapter 10: Living in the Reset Mindset. Living in the reset mindset is more than just a one-time decision. It's a way of approaching life with the understanding that nothing is permanent and everything can be improved. People who thrive don't wait for perfect conditions. They create them. They know that the moment they feel stuck, tired, or defeated is the very moment to pause, evaluate, and reset. It's not about erasing your history, it's about embracing your past, learning from it, and choosing a better path forward. This mindset allows you to approach each day with intention, energy, and clarity. Resetting your mindset requires radical self-awareness. You must be honest with yourself about where you are, where you want to go, and what is holding you back. This doesn't mean dwelling on failures or punishing yourself for past mistakes. It means observing your thoughts, patterns, and behaviors without judgment. By understanding the forces that shape your actions, you can start to shift them consciously, moving from autopilot to deliberate, intentional living. A reset mindset thrives on adaptability. Life is unpredictable, and even the best-laid plans will sometimes fail. People who live in this mindset don't see obstacles as threats. They see them as opportunities to adjust, grow, and innovate. Each setback becomes a lesson, each challenge a stepping stone. This perspective doesn't eliminate difficulty, but it changes how you experience it. Instead of frustration and resistance, you cultivate curiosity, resilience, and creativity. One of the key principles of the reset mindset is letting go. Letting go of grudges, toxic relationships, limiting beliefs, and outdated goals creates space for new energy to flow into your life. Carrying unnecessary weight drains your focus and clouds your vision. By releasing what no longer serves you, you open yourself to new possibilities, new connections, and new achievements. Letting go is not weakness, it's a sign of strength, clarity, and self-respect. Living with this mindset also means prioritizing your inner world. Your thoughts, emotions, and energy shape your external reality. By cultivating positivity, practicing gratitude, and managing your mental state, you create a foundation for success and fulfillment. Meditation, journaling, reflection, and intentional rest become essential tools. When you invest in your inner self, everything else begins to align naturally. The reset mindset encourages continuous learning. Growth is never finished and mastery is never complete. Each day offers new lessons, new experiences, and new ways to improve. Embrace curiosity, ask questions, seek mentors, and challenge your assumptions. By committing to lifelong learning, you ensure that your personal and professional evolution never stagnates. A stagnant mind is the enemy of progress, while a curious, adaptive mind is unstoppable. Another critical component is resilience. The reset mindset doesn't promise smooth sailing. Life will challenge you, test your patience, and push you to your limits. But it teaches you to recover, recalibrate, and move forward no matter what. Resilience comes from believing in your ability to overcome, trusting your capacity to adapt, and refusing to let setbacks define you. Each recovery strengthens your confidence, fortifies your focus, and deepens your wisdom. Living in this mindset requires action. Reflection and intention are essential, but they must be paired with consistent, meaningful effort. Resetting isn't passive, it's active. Each day offers opportunities to make better choices, pursue your goals, and step closer to the life you envision. Action transforms thoughts into reality, and discipline bridges the gap between desire and achievement. A reset mindset also fosters self-compassion. You will stumble, falter, and sometimes fail. Accepting these moments without judgment allows you to recover faster and maintain your momentum. Self-compassion doesn't excuse inaction, it empowers it. It helps you see failures as temporary, learning experiences as treasures, and growth as a journey rather than a destination. Finally, living in the reset mindset is about embracing freedom. Freedom from fear, doubt, regret, and limitation. It is the freedom to start over whenever you choose, the freedom to redefine yourself, and the freedom to live intentionally. This mindset becomes a guiding philosophy, a way of navigating life with clarity, courage, and confidence. Once you internalize it, you no longer wait for change to happen. You become the architect of your own destiny, constantly resetting, restarting, and refocusing to create the life you were meant to live.